Andy, welcome to Dubai.
Thank you.
It was a great pleasure having you here. First of all, that shows a huge commitment from GitLab top management into coming here locally to the Middle East and supporting the operations. Agentic AI, that's something everyone is talking about nowadays. And to be honest, I think I have a couple of questions for you. Andy, as EMEA SA director, you are seeing how enterprises across different regions approach AI in development. What's the biggest shift you are observing in how organizations think about AI in their software delivery lifecycle?
So I think that the main change is organizations realizing that AI, when it comes to software delivery, is not just about code assistance. We see that the developers only spend 21% of their time on average actually writing new code. All the rest of their time is all the other things that they've got to do. So if you want to genuinely 10x your developers, you've got to think more about what else they're doing. But then also, what about all the rest of the delivery lifecycle for software as well? How do you think about testing and security scanning and code reviews? Focus on the entire SDLC rather than just, can I deliver code faster? That's the big change.
Amazing. And that's gonna take us immediately to our next question, Andy. And before we dive deeper into GitLab's agentic AI capabilities, can you paint the vision for us? Where is GitLab headed with AI-powered development, and what role do autonomous agents play in that future?
Well, I think for me, the really big change here is the autonomous side of things. Having agents working with us on a many-to-many relationship. Today, most people interact directly with some form of AI. You ask it to do something, you wait, and it responds back to you. And that builds delays into what you're doing. Wouldn't it be much better if you could say to an agent, hey, go do this, and off it goes. And then you start another conversation, another agent, hey, go do this. Wouldn't it be great if you could then pull all of that together from a point of view, where do I need to spend my time as well? And I'm sure we'll talk more about that as well. But this is truly the power of a many-to-many relationship. Lots of developers interacting with lots of agents to achieve the goal of delivering better software more securely, faster. That's what we need to do.
Nice. Now, going towards the why GitLab story, and for that, there are many AI coding assistants in the market today. I would say Copilot, Cursor, standalone tools. What makes GitLab's approach to the agentic AI fundamentally different, and why should enterprises care about this difference?
Well, as I mentioned, it's not just about creating code. And, I think we've got a great solution to help people deliver code, but we recognize there are other tools that people are going to want to use. Wouldn't it be better to be the glue between all of those tools and how that gets pulled into the wider workflow, the pipelines that you're building, and then enforce the policy around that code, whether that's security compliance, whether that is a broader set of compliance rules that you've got within the organization, but also what about code standards? People are really concerned about the quality of code that is delivered through AI. Wouldn't it be great if you could have an agent that would take whatever your documented code standards are and apply that to ensure whatever gets through into production is the way you deliver code into production, irrespective if a person develops it or an AI technology develops it.
Amazing. You mentioned agentic. Can you break that down? I mean, what does it mean for an AI to be truly agentic with the development workflow, not just autocomplete on steroids?
It has to be a technology that can go and operate. Once you tell it to do something, it will go and operate. It will perform a task or series of tasks on its own and then report back to you. So it's almost like having your own army of people going and doing things for you, your set of people that will go and write some code, that will create an issue, that will describe what needs to be done, that will go and do scanning for vulnerabilities. Wouldn't it be even better is if you found that there was a problem with code or a vulnerability, that you could then say, oh, thank you for letting me know. Just click a button and say, now can you go and resolve that for me? And go and resubmit a merge request. Go and change that code. Go and review the code that wasn't up to standard. Have it resolve that and resubmit it. So now it's that power of utilizing your time where you are best used and let the agents go and do that work for you. That's how you 10x your time by not having to do everything yourself. Have the agents do that for you, and you're the orchestrator, the conductor of this group of agents delivering on that vision for you.
Nice. We will be digging deeper about the agent because we are now till this moment, maybe people say agent, agent, agent. We will dig deeper into that. But before that, here in the Middle East, Andy, especially with government and banking clients, we are constant concern about data sovereignty and AI governance. How does GitLab self-hosted AI platform address the concern in ways that SaaS-only solutions simply can't?
So we see this on a regular basis, both here in the Middle East, but also with regulations in Europe, in Singapore, various parts of the world, where data needs to remain within a particular geographic boundary. And having a SaaS solution that is outside those boundaries clearly creates an issue. So, what we've done with GitLab, one of our options for deployment of the platform is a self hosted platform where you could host it within your own data center, within a data center within the geographic boundary, but not just GitLab, but also the AI models as well. So you're in control now of where those data flows exist, and you can guarantee that all of that is contained within the region that you're concerned about particularly. And we're the only organization that has that capability when it comes to DevSecOps.
Nice. Can organization create their own custom agent with GitLab? What does that customization looks like?
So the answer is yes. And this is, I think, one of the most powerful elements of what we do. We've built an AI catalog. So we ship agents ourselves, as you would expect, to do a whole range of different tasks in terms of creating merge requests, resolving pipeline failures. But what about all those things internally that companies have to try and figure out? How do you so this is one of the areas that I think is really powerful. We've created an AI catalog and we ship a whole series of agents within that. So being able to create a merge request, to fix failed pipelines, there's a whole number of agents that we have. But what about all those tasks internal inside your organization, maybe are unique to you and how you actually develop software? Why not build an agent to automate that as well? And this really demonstrates one of the real powers how we're building agents within GeoAgent platform, in that you can define exactly what the system prompt is, you're in full control, but also you've got granular control of the tools that the agent can use. So those concerns around, well, what is agentic technology able to do? Is it going to go and start overwriting parts of my platform? No, you're in control of the tools that it can use. You get to define what the scope of that agent actually is. I think that's a tremendous benefit. And it's something that's not just for internal within your organization. We're building the ability to share that within the broader community as well. So you'll be able to select all sorts of different agents that other people have developed and build those into your environment as well.
Nice. So, for a CTO or engineering director listening to this, what control mechanism exists over these AI agents? How do they set boundaries? enforce policies or ensure agents operate within their organization standards?
So I think there's a couple of different elements there. Number one, there's that control, the system prompt, the tools that the agent is able to use. But there's also how those agents are applied to projects. So you've got that control as well. But then more broadly, when we think about control across the entire platform, I would argue you can also get it to control how code is being delivered. I mentioned earlier about the issue of different technologies that are code assistants that are creating code and what the standard is. If you can document what your coding standard is, and you can and give that to GeoAgent platform, we can now ensure that any code that is delivered complies with your standards, your policies, whatever that might be. So when we think about policies, it's not just about access, it's about what gets delivered. And then we'll talk about security as well and how that is applied within the platform as well.
Nice. Can you walk us through a day in the life of a developer using GitLab AI agent? What are the top priorities this agent can handle today that materially change how teams work?
This is one of my favorite points is when we think about how developers work, there'll be a daily stand-up, what should I be working on and so on. Wouldn't it be great if an agent could actually go through all of the things that you're supposed to be working on and say, hey, look, here's the priorities you really ought to work on. And by the way, this is how long I think it ought to take. Wouldn't it be great if you could take that and then just say, oh yeah, I can see there's an item says I need to create an issue to work on this, this particular topic. Wouldn't it be great if you could just say, go and create the issue for me? Because we know how developers love to write documentation.
They're not.
Wouldn't it be great if we could get it to go and create that issue for us with all the labels that it needs and so on, and then have a button in there that says create merge request? But the best bit is, when I tell it to go and do that, it starts off and goes and does it. I go straight onto the next item on my list. So maybe that's go and resolve this bug in, this code, whatever it might be. Great, now I'm going to go and ask for analysis of, well, what is that, And so I'm now as a developer, now I'm interacting with multiple agents that are doing these tasks for me. In other words, my time is being used most effectively on the highest priority tasks. And as I'm completing tasks, I can ask the platform, hey, what's the next thing I should be working on? How do I go and spend my time most productively? That's the power of using GeoAgent platform to really drive that productivity of your developers.
Wow, really, and I think there are a lot of people watching us now. They say, okay, I want to see how this works actually in a real case scenario. But let's go to something which is in the life of a developer. They see it on a daily basis almost, which is merge requests.
Yeah.
When it comes to merge requests, are often bottlenecks in delivery, I would say. And how are AI agents transforming the merge requests processes from creating through review to merge?
So there's a number of different things that we need to look at here. Number one, there is creating the merge request. And as I mentioned, now it's as easy as clicking a button that says, create the merge request with Duo. And it will go off and actually create the merge request, set the pipeline running, and away we go. We wait a few minutes and there we are. But unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes the pipeline fails. And as a developer, then you've got to dive in and try and figure out through all these log files, what's gone wrong, what do I need to do? And particularly for newer developers, that's really difficult. They end up calling in a more senior developer to try and figure out what's going wrong. Then you get to a resolution. Now you try and change it, you fix what the problem is and resubmit the request. Wouldn't it be great if there was a button that just said, fix pipeline, and let it go and do the analysis for you, and I don't need to call in that senior developer? That's one of the other agents that we've got in there as well. So now, as a developer, I can have it go off and create the code and the pipeline, do all those checks. If it fails, I can fix my own pipelines. And I'm now, again, I'm maximizing my time and I'm driving that productivity in the organization. That's how we're helping drive the pipeline process.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about pipelines as well. So, what can AI agent do autonomously with CI/CD pipelines that previously required manual intervention or scripting?
So as I mentioned, when we set pipelines, there's a whole range of different tasks that would need to be performed that now the agentic technology will go and resolve that for you. But actually the whole pipeline, if we think about the whole pipeline for delivery of software end to end, our agentic technology takes you all the way from epics through to issues, through writing code, building test plans, driving the scanning for vulnerabilities. And we're integrating at every single piece along that process, right the way through into delivery. And the key thing for us is it's built on GitLab's core platform, which means we've got context built in. You know, we hear about concerns around AI hallucinating. Well, we have context built in.
Yeah.
It means as we're looking at maybe resolving a security vulnerability, we can refer back to the original issue to understand what was being proposed, what are we trying to create. And the other thing is, it's the same interface in every single step. Today, if you're using lots of different tools, you're maybe trying to switch between different interfaces. The developers got to learn all these different tools. Not with GitLab. It's the same interface. You interact with it in the same way. It's a seamless approach for the developer.
Yeah. When it comes to SDLC in general, governance and quality is a big deal. It's something very important. So every organization has coding standards, style guides, security requirements, architectural patterns. How do AI agents learn and enforce these organization specific standards rather than generic AI best practices?
So the beauty of the way that the Duo Agent platform works in this area is it's built on top of GitLab's main platform, our data store, our unified platform. And we can use the power of our compliance reporting that's already built into GitLab. But now we can extend that. So you mentioned coding, and irrespective of whether code is written through GitLab itself or whether a human has written that code, maybe it's come from one of these other code assistants, maybe Cursor, Windsurf, Claude Code, whatever it might be. We can now, as we push that through the pipeline, the merge request, we're making sure the code is complying with whatever your organization standards is. You're ensuring that code is documented. If you have requirement for comments every few lines, indentation in a certain way, whatever your standard is, if you can document it, we can ensure that the agent will drive that compliance. But compliance is much more than just code compliance. It's about how code is delivered. And under the covers, there's all sorts of technology, including something called GitLab Knowledge Graph, that is indexing everything within the platform so we can ensure whatever the policy is, we're driving compliance.
Wow. Here, there is a very important question. Which LLM powers this? I mean, can enterprises choose their own models? How does GitLab handle the LLM layer, especially for organizations that wants to bring their own models?
So we support a number of different LLMs. And in fact, we've done analysis to ensure that the LLMs that we select for different parts of the life cycle, we select the right LLM to do the right job. But when we're talking about self-hosted platforms, such as here in the Middle East, now customers can bring their own LLMs as well. So now we can start to look at what are you trying to achieve in your organization. And with the self-hosted GitLab platform, the self-hosted AI models, you're in control in your organization. You make sure it's what you need rather than what GitLab is suggesting you need to do.
Important. Air-gapped environment.
Air-gapped environments,
Self-managed.
self-managed.
Very
Yeah,
important. This is these two keywords, very important.
yeah.
Okay, so going a little bit to the going a little bit to the DevSecOps integration story. GitLab's heritage in DevSecOps, the complete platform. How do AI agents integrate with security scanning, vulnerability management, and compliance workflows? This seems like a massive advantage over point solution.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at how people have selected tools, we know that the security of is a huge problem. And the reality is different tools will come up with different responses. And our security teams, what we find is they see this huge list, this backlog of potential vulnerabilities. How do you know whether or not this is a real vulnerability or whether or not this is something that you can reduce the priority? And this is where GitLab Knowledge Graph comes in, because we're indexing all the relationships between code within a project, understanding what's important, what's called where. So when we see a vulnerability, one of the things that we can look at is that vulnerability something that's going to be called? Can we reduce the priority because that can never actually be executed? I mean, that's just a single example of the kind of analysis that you could do. But one of the other things is, wouldn't it be great if we've done the analysis and then a button pops up that says fix the vulnerability? So again, that's one of the capabilities that we've got. And you see this little logo that appears on screen that says, hey, we can do something with this.
We can help you.
Yeah, and off it goes. And it will go and do the code change, resubmit the merge request, and away we go again. And that way we can help prioritize what are the most important vulnerabilities the team needs to work on and help resolve those vulnerabilities as well. And this is an ever-evolving space, as we know the cybersecurity world is. But this is where we can bring real value with Joe Agent platform.
In some of the previous conversations, you mentioned that GitLab is the only self-hosted AI platform integrated into a complete DevSecOps workflow. Unpack this for us. What does only means here and why does it matter?
The DevSecOps space is evolving. There's a lot of change that's happening across the market. And a lot of those changes are driving customers into cloud SaaS solutions only. And from our perspective, that's not necessarily what every customer is wanting to do. Some customers do. They want to move everything into SaaS, for the speed of delivery. They don't have to worry about managing the platform and so on. But from our perspective, there are customers that want to be able to do that, whether it's because of regulatory standards, maybe they want someone else to run the platform. They want GitLab to run the platform, but they're okay with AI in the cloud as well. But they want a single tenant, and we've got a solution for that as well. We call that GitLab Dedicated. But then there's this group of customers that want to ensure that everything is in their control, that no data is leaving their boundary, whether that's a country boundary, a regional boundary, whatever it might be. And that's a platform that we support as well, with self-hosted, self-managed, including all of the LLMs. So what we actually bring is the ability to meet any of those requirements, whether it's full SaaS environment, whether it's single tenant SaaS, including AI with our dedicated platform, and of course this fully self-managed, self-hosted capability as well. Whatever you need, GitLab can provide that platform for you.
Amazing. When it comes to the real world impact, without naming names, can you share a use case where you have seen AI agents deliver tangible ROI? What metrics improved velocity, quality, security, posture?
You know, I think there's so many great stories. Okay, and I love to talk to customers and hear, you know, how they're using our platform and the benefit that it brings to them. But one that really resonates to me was a story where the customer got a benefit they weren't expecting. And this was all about as they were onboarding developers into their environment, which is something that everybody has to do. And this particular customer, it would take them 3 months to onboard a developer. They've got to learn all the tool set and lots of different tools and so on. They've got to understand the coding standards, you know, how to get things done and so on. But this particular customer had deployed Duo into their organization. And what found was that their developers now were productive after just 1 week because of the help that we were able to provide the developer, that ability to interact with the platform, that ability to speed up their ability to deliver code. And when you see those kind of benefits that we hadn't initially thought about, but suddenly you think, well, of course, yeah, if we're going to enable all these existing developers, but we're going to enable all the new developers coming in as well. And that was such a great conversation with that particular leader about that benefit to them as an organization. Because again, that's reducing their cost and it's increasing their productivity. And that's a win-win for anybody.
Yeah, Andy, I think on our website, gitlab.com, we have a lot of public references that they were happy to share their story
Yeah.
with GitLab, which I invite everyone to go and have a look on that. So, what surprises you most about how teams are actually using these AI agents in production? Any unexpected use cases?
So I think we're now starting to those different things. And agentic technology, instead of looking at it from the perspective of we want this thing and this thing and this thing, now we turn it around and say, what would you like it to do? You know, what is your key problems that you want agentic technology to solve? And for me, I think it's changing the conversation with customers rather than just looking at, you know, how do I write code? Now it's expanding that conversation into how do you drive real advantage for your business advantage for your organization by delivering code much, much faster than you, that 10x conversation, driving security, driving compliance, and driving that ability to react to what the business needs from code rather than how do I figure out which code I deliver faster. Yeah, that's the difference. That agentic technology is now becoming a true business enabler.
Indeed, indeed, it's very important. Looking ahead, if we were having this conversation a year from now, that's your favorite question, right? What AI agent capabilities will be standard in GitLab that would seem like science fiction today?
Wow, that's a great question because I say it. I think we have to think about things very differently now. And you know, if we think about the traditional way that any software is delivered, you create a roadmap, you look 12 months out, 18 months, maybe 2 years out. Now we can think very differently because the rate that we can deliver capability is going to be so much faster. And so I think we need agentic technology and Duo Agent platform from the perspective of not what can we deliver, but genuinely what do you want? Because you can create the agents yourself. You don't have to wait for GitLab to be able to ship all these agents. Look at the challenges that you face inside your organization. Can you write an agent that's going to automate that for you? So we're actually enabling people to work on our technology to be able to deliver the software capabilities inside our organization, how they want to deliver it. And I think that change in mindset is really what is going to be different in 12 months. Because today we think about, it's this step and this step and this step and this step. Now we can say, what do I want these agents to go and do? And how do I orchestrate all these agents, and have them running off doing all these tasks for me? Think differently about how your developers are going to work. But here's another thing. Remember, this platform isn't just for developers. This is about how you plan what you want to deliver, how you drive compliance, how we interact with all these different teams inside the organization can change with Duo Agent Platform, because it's doing the work for you. You're in control of the agents, what they do, how they do. The question is, what do you want them to do? Not what does GitLab say they should be doing. That's going to be the difference.
Wow. I have a final question for you.
Sure.
For engineering leaders watching this who are still evaluating their AI strategy, what's the one thing you want them to understand about the agentic approach to software delivery?
So I think for me, the key thing that I would ask them to consider with Duo Agent Platform is that they're in control. When we think about some of the concerns around AI, it's around, is AI going to deliver value as an organization? Lots of vendors are talking about AI enablement within their platform, tool, whatever it might be. A real platform has all of the context built in. And why that's important is because what they're really talking about is, what is the risk of deploying agentic AI technology? We allow these agents to operate the GitLab platform, but you're in control of what they're doing. So that risk is massively diminished because you're the team that's configuring what can they do, what tools have they got access, which parts of the platform are they able to operate in. You're in control of that. So that's what they need to consider, that this is bringing tremendous value, driving productivity across the organization, but you're in control. The agent isn't in control. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's really important, really important, because I see it when talking to people about, when I say agentic AI, people got agentic. They feel that they are, if they give that task to be done by an agent, they feel that they are out of control, and they feel about the risk. And at the end of the day, their management will put them in, they will question them for any outcomes delivered by that agent.
Yeah.
But with GitLab, when they have the agent under their own control, then I think there is no risk.
Yeah. And I think that's when we talk about outcomes with Duo Agent Platform, we're enabling our customers to drive the right business outcomes at the speed that they need to. They're generating value in their organizations because their developers are becoming far more productive, not just delivering code 10 times faster and then it being stuck, being assessed from a security vulnerability testing, code review. We're genuinely driving the right process across a unified platform where they're in control, but the agents are driving that productivity for them. That's the GitLab value.
Wow, amazing. For viewers who wants to explore GitLab's AI capabilities, what's the best next step?
Well, that's a really easy one. Contact you, Saeed. That's what they need to do.
So more work for me now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.